Alright, so in today's video, I got every single trophy on Halo Campaign Evolved, including the Platinum Trophy. Halo Campaign Evolved just dropped on July 28, and I managed to grab that Platinum in only 18 hours of playtime. The game contains 58 total trophies with the Platinum Trophy. I would rate it at about a 5 out of 10-ish for difficulty overall, you know, including any methods you may use to get the harder trophies. And without further ado, let's just dive into it. But before I do get too far ahead of myself, if you don't know what this game is, it's essentially the first ever Halo game campaign just remastered, and they've actually done this a few times in the past, I believe, and it's been controversial every time. And I'm not going to be giving really any opinion on the game because I honestly don't really care to argue. I think it's a fine game, so yeah, there's nothing really wrong with it. Plays good. It's Halo, baby. Before the video continues, I want to say a huge thank you to OperaGX for sponsoring this video and making it all possible. I'm sure you guys have already heard of OperaGX before, but if you somehow haven't, it's the best web browser on the internet, especially if you're a gamer, which I'm assuming you are if you're watching this video. OperaGX doesn't just have an amazing gaming feel to the browser itself with the countless customization options and even built-in new game map on the homepage, but also features literal built-in video games you can play whenever you want in some absolutely hilarious extensions. My personal favorite is the Touch Grass extension, a comment I get told very often with my content on YouTube, and with OperaGX I can touch grass whenever I want, baby. Another amazing feature I love is GX control. You can cap how much power OperaGX draws from your PC, whether it's CPU, RAM, etc. Now I already mentioned the customization, but some more GX mods that are amazing are the wallpapers, the keyboard sounds, splash screens, and so much more. I can't even fit into this ad segment. And even past all these amazing bells and whistles, OperaGX has an amazing import tool which imports your browsing history, bookmarks, cookies, and it's compatible with every single Google Chrome extension. So if you're afraid of losing any of your past, you shall fear no longer. One last thing I love is their built-in ad blocker, which I'm sure many of you watching this are already using. OperaGX truly has it all. You can use my link below or pinned comment to download OperaGX today, and huge thanks once more for sponsoring this video.
I love you, bitch.
So stage 1 for this game's platinum is going to be to beat the remixed campaign without dying. This is a special mode that makes enemies, weapons, pretty much everything randomized, and it's not easy. It's pretty hard actually, even on the easiest difficulty. You also cannot die at all because the trophy Mix Master requires just that. Anyways, aside from beating it all on the remixed version without dying, I also did go for most of these skulls and every terminal because both are collectibles that are needed for the LASO playthrough and for trophies themselves. That LASO playthrough, by the way, is the hardest thing in the game by far. So starting off for real this time, I actually just played through the first level up till getting 3 skulls because you do have to do that just to unlock the remix campaign. It's a little bit weird, but I did it very fast. I also got the first trophy of the game from collecting 1 skull called Cranial. As I said, I then grabbed 2 more, and once those were gotten, I then just save exited and I start off the game for real this time. The overall plot for Halo Campaign Evolved surrounds our ship getting attacked by the Covenant, who is the enemy force of this game, and then we have to ditch ship and then go and land on the Halo, which is, you know, literally a halo of sorts in the middle of space. Throughout the story, you also discover more and more about what it does, how dangerous it is, and ultimately we do destroy it. I feel like it's safe to, you know, spoil the story. I mean, this game is over 20 years old if you think about it. But this first mission was that one where the ship we were on was assaulted by the Covenant. You awake as Master Chief being unthawed from some scientist guys because we are a lab-grown killing machine. That's what the doctors used to say when they checked my genitals at checkups, but it's a little bit weird now. The gameplay flow of this first mission is also very simple. You don't even get a gun until the second checkpoint of the story, and then after you do get your weapon, it's pretty much just an intro into combat. I actually would die a few times because the randomizer is a little bit brutal at moments, and again, if we do die, we have to restart. But you can actually just pause the game and then close it and then reopen it, and you're fine. As long as you don't see the loading screen after dying, your game will never register it as an actual death. I'm unsure why this functions that way, but this remaster has a lot of holes in it, to say the least.
All right, I'm gonna take a piss. Enjoy. Give me like 45 seconds. We'll see if he can figure it out.
Moving forwards, however, like I said, you just kind of brawl with a lot of enemies, but we are fighting our way to the final few escape pods on the ship. Master Chief may be strong, but we aren't invincible, and after making it to the escape pod, we essentially finish the first level. Now, this is where you should get a trophy because every level in this game does give you a trophy, but I had my Wi-Fi off when I was playing because I was a little bit afraid that they would patch it, and I was trying to use some methods later on, but anyways, moving on. Trophies also don't work when offline on this game. It's kind of weird. I feel like this is not a good thing to be doing, but okay. So just imagine I got this trophy here. I would get it later on when I replay the game anyway, so it's not really bugged. That's just how it works. But this next mission was also very simple. Level 2 is called a Halo, and it has this on the Halo itself. It might not look like it, but the Halo is absolutely massive, and it has a whole world built within it. But this entire level's goal had us running around to other survivor pods and teams on the ground to help them out and not get wiped out by the Covenant, who is desperately trying to eradicate us. There's actually quite a few funny voice lines telling us the Covenant's radio transmissions, and apparently they are calling us apes. I'm sure that really offended Sergeant Johnson. That's just not okay. So yeah, again, you basically just have to rid enemies at numerous objectives. I also did run into a skull which I couldn't get already because you need another skull later on to get it, which allows you to fly and basically to reach it. I love that, Halo. Thanks so much. But once finishing off the 3 different objectives we had in terms of saving survivors, we then all jumped on the ship once more, and that is level 2 complete. In total, there is 10 levels a part of the main story and 3 bonus levels with this game's remaster, all of which do need to be played and beaten in every playthrough you do for the trophies we are after. But level 3 is called Truth and Reconciliation, and again, this is another very simple level. Looking back at it, these first 3 levels are all just super short, which is ironic because pretty much every level after these 3 is very long and almost confusing at points. You know, mostly that is. There is 1 or 2 missions later on that are super short. But this level had us just land in from the last one on a further point on the Halo, and the goal for us in the first half is just to reach the battleship at the end of this canyon of sorts. Of course, enemies are scattered absolutely everywhere within, so there's a lot of tugging penis, as I call it. But once you do reach the battleship, it then sends down, I think, about 7-ish waves of enemies for us to fight, with a penultimate one at the end that has 2 massive enemies which take a lot of damage to get rid of. After doing so, you then go up the tractor beam itself to get probed. Master Chief may be lab grown, but they still gave us a dark abyss to enter, if you know what I'm saying. And once you do make it up here, this is actually the second part of the level, not a new one, even though it might seem like that. The objective up here was to find the ship's brig because that's where all the goodies are at. Now, to get there in typical fashion, we had to fight a plethora of enemies, and there was so much enemy presence in that main hangar area that I actually died numerous times. The randomizer on this campaign is not easy, like I said. Even when you have it on easy difficulty, it is not quite so simple. Turns out when the game spawns in golden enemies with swords every few steps, you can still indeed die very fast. Not exactly the experience I expected, so yes, my feelings are a bit hurt. Anyways, moving on from that, you eventually find out that Captain Keyes, who was the captain of our ship at the beginning of the game, which unfortunately did get destroyed, is being held captive in the brig of this ship. So once making it there, we found Daddy, and a lot of plot gets laid out. You find out that the Covenant intends to control the Halo because it's a weapon of mass destruction. It's unclear right now what exactly the Halo does or what it can do, but seeing as it's massive and it's a weapon, it just must be insanely strong. So the goal then turns to us trying to uncover what this thing really is. Before that, we had to escape from this ship, so we just fought our way to the hangar once more. After making it there, everybody jumped on an alien ship and we stole it right from them. A very cool cutscene then played out, and that is the 3rd level finished off with. It then transitions right away to the next one, which is level 4, called the Silent Cartographer. And I'm unsure why trophies have not been popping at this point, because I did turn my Wi-Fi back on like an hour ago in this playthrough. They made me with the whole licensing thing. You love to see it, Sony. Thanks. I can't even play offline games offline anymore. Love ya.
Know your fucking place, trash.
But they will start popping at random now in this 4th level, which is the fastest in the game. And when I say trophies just popped randomly, I mean it. I guess the server's finally connected or plugged in, I guess. I don't know. Because once I made it to the first objective building of this level, I got 3 trophies all at once. None of which should have popped here. First was beat the drop from completing a remix mission without dying, then a remix from completing a remix mission in general, and finally clean sweep from finding all skulls and terminals on the first level of the game, being Pillar of Autumn. So here's all 3 of those trophies popping at once. That's very weird, but at least they did work after all. Now this level's golden had us trying to get into a map room to discover more about the Halo, but at first you can't since the Covenant locks the door down.
Open the door. I'm getting angry.
You then have to drive around this very tiny island to the security part of it, run down there, flip the security off, and then drive back. Now once inside this place, you pretty much just need to find a way to keep going down. The objectives in this level are a bit different than others, but it's not a forward direction, but rather a down direction of progress. So I just tried my best to find the path. It's not very obvious most of the time. However, there is only so many ways to go, so it's not that confusing. On this downward track, I also found all of the collectibles for this level as well, and I got the Buried It Treasure trophy. So here's that trophy pop. Now we then do reach the room we were after, and inside, Cortana, that busty AI in our mind, then investigates the Halo's blueprints and located the control room, or what seems to be one, within seconds. God, I love AI. I'm just kidding. We should tar and feather this blue Smurf wannabe whore. No, it's kind of aggressive, sorry. You then have to leave the building, and that's basically the level complete with us making a topside, hopping on the ship once more and flying off to level 5. I also got my first level completion trophy when I was supposed to right here, called B30 from finishing Silent Cartographer. So level 5 now is called Assault on the Control Room, and it's an assault on the control room. I know, very fancy and intuitive. And wait till you hear our objective: find the Halo control room. Anyways, jokes aside, the goal may be very simple, but this is when the levels got very big. You almost go into a sort of half open world-ish vibe when exploring because there is just so much distance between our objectives. I loved it though. I think Halo has a really fun combat system. The world building is very nice. It might be a bit janky here and there, but hey, at least it's unique, it's fun, and killing those alien scum is as satisfying as ever. During the killings, I also got my first of many combat trophies in this game, called the Claims Adjuster from breaking off 50 vehicle parts. This is actually pretty easy to get. I'm sure you'll do it naturally like I did, especially when using the OP tank we get because it just destroys vehicles on contact completely. So here's that trophy pop. However, while I was driving that tank a little bit later on, I did unfortunately reach a very unfortunate permadeath checkpoint when I was driving it on the edge, trying to get a skull. So I did have to replay the entire mission. God, I love you, Xbox Game Studios. Thanks so much.
Oh my god!
Anyways, after I did man a Banshee, which is those flying alien vehicles, I then flew up and got the final collectible I needed on the level, getting me yet again another all collectible trophy on this level called Stowed in Snow. I then did finally make it through the level and I reached the control room. Now at first when Cortana started masturbating inside it, everything was fun, so much knowledge, pretty lights, other stuff. But then she ended up discovering that the reason the Covenant is so hostile towards us is because they found something horrifying inside the Halo, which they are both afraid of to begin with, but even more scared of us unleashing on them. And that's exactly where Captain Keyes was headed next, to an unassuming quote-unquote weapons cache. And then the level ends off and our goal is to stop Keyes and hopefully get there in time, with the Assault on the Control Room trophy popping after all was said and done. So level 6 now, this is called 343 Guilty Spark. And it had us trying to find Captain Keyes and the weapon cache before it's too late and the damage is already done. This level also features one of the most annoying and challenging level trophies in the game, which I would spend a lot of fun time on later near the end of this video, so make sure to watch till the end. Please? Pretty please? Anyways, the large majority of this at first is just us again fighting to the weapons cache, but there really wasn't actually that much fighting. It was more just scary, to be honest. They kind of do nail the feeling of horror here and there, and I did get a bit afraid inside. You even got to watch a video recording of the squad that went in here, and it was pretty horrifying. This is also when we discover the secondary enemy force of the game called the Flood, which is literally just these little alien bugs that look straight out of the Alien movies. They aren't necessarily that dangerous though. Like, I get they are hard to fight because of the sheer amount of them, but in reality they don't do that much damage to us. In fact, the only time they are really a threat is when they latch onto people. The little bugs themselves are just that, bugs. So yeah, I do wish they were a bit stronger or just made scarier, I guess. I almost couldn't take it seriously after seeing just how easy it was to eliminate them in hindsight. Anyways, after discovering that the Flood is the big threat, I guess, on Halo, our goal then changes to just escaping. Imagine if they killed us and got control of Master Chief, then it would actually be a viable threat. Now during this escape, I also did find all the collectibles once more from the trophy pop called Proto Gravemind. And to end off this level and the escape objective, we pretty much just had to fend off enemies until exfil arrives once again. Very simple, very fun level, and yeah, not much else to say. Here is that level's completion trophy once more. So the next level then starts and it's called the Library. This one is a bit of an odd offbeat level because it kind of has us going solo, but we follow this other AI named the Monitor through more of Halo's facilities and into the library, which holds a lot of info and a way to stop the Flood, allegedly. It's a very slow level as well, and it's not really a favorite of mine because of that. Many times, in fact, basically the entire mission, you pretty much just fight the Flood while waiting for the Monitor to open some more doors to go further into the library. It's annoying to say the least, but it does serve as a good way to show us how the Flood works and also just the extent of them because they are flooding this area. I wonder if that's why they're called the Flood, because they flood you with the Flood. Anyways, in the midst of fighting them, I also got a combat trophy related to the Flood, as you would expect, and it was called Disarmed from Dismembering 100 Flood Parts. Another very natural combat trophy, and here it is popping. Anyways, we then reached the Index, which is like the key of sorts to the Halo, which the Monitor desperately wanted. A little bit suspicious, not gonna lie. And then the level sort of just ends right there, and it transitions into the next one right away, but here is that library level completion trophy pop. So the next level is then called 2 Betrayals, and you'll see why soon, but it starts right away with the cutscene showing the monitor trying to make us put the index into this machine and use it, but thankfully Cortana steps in and stops us because unknowingly we almost caused a mass extinction event. The Halo's grand power is the ability to rid life from every single living organism that has a body mass sufficient enough to feed the Flood's creatures, because that is the only way you can kill the Flood and stop it from spreading throughout the universe, through complete extinction. Now we can't do that obviously, so shout out Cortana for stopping the monitor. What a lame f***ing name, to be honest. And then the rest of this level has us pretty much just running for our life because we are now enemies to the Halo's defense system, the Flood, and the Covenant. Truly making no friends today. This is a blunt rotation threesome. The objective then begins to just try and leave this area, and on the way out I also found my 22nd skull in the game in front of the collectible trophy called Making a Necklace, and here's that trophy pop. Now the goal ends up changing once further out of that area, and it turns into us trying to shut down these generators, which are just powering the Halo defense mechanisms against us. It's honestly a pretty annoying objective just because the waypoints are very inconsistent and I would get lost a few times. Anyways, while doing that I also did find all of the collectibles I got a trophy pop as well called Outpost Discoveries. And while nearing the third generator I got into a massive fight because I was pretty much just a lost dog in this barren wasteland. Inside the fight I got another combat trophy called Plate Tectonics from breaking off 25 Hunter backplates. Again, a very natural trophy, should get it through just fighting enemies, and here's the trophy pop. I then did finally make it to the final generator. I shut it all down and the ending cutscene played out showing us getting teleported out through Cortana's immaculate hacking abilities, and here is that level's trophy pop. Now the next level is called Keys. It has returning to the massive alien ship from earlier and trying to find Captain Keys again because he has been captured once more. Man, it must suck being the captain. You're just getting probed endlessly. I mean, it would be kind of nice if you're into that, I guess. Anyways, this level was very much like the one from earlier when we were trying to find the captain in the ship. In fact, I think it does reuse areas unless I'm tripping balls. But I'm just going to skim through this level. I didn't get any trophies throughout it, and it's also just entirely combat until you do make it to the captain once more. However, once you do find him, you learn that unfortunately Daddy has been taken over by the Flood and they have him just entangled in the alien matter. Not even a turkey hair transplant can save Daddy now. Anyways, you then just leave the alien ship again like before, and once doing so the level ends and the trophy pops. So we are now on to technically the final mission of the game called the Maw. And this one had us destroying the crashed Pillar of Autumn ship to set off a chain reaction and in turn destroy the Halo itself in the hopes of ridding the Flood in the process. It's actually a very fun level, and going back into the first level in a way was pretty cool. You know, it's all in ruin this time. I love the vibe. During it, you obviously do fight a lot, and I ended up getting 100 headshots right here for the Make Them Count trophy. So here's that trophy pop. Now the final objective of this level, or I guess the real final objective, is to expose the ship's 4 cores and then shoot a rocket in it to set off that huge explosion that I've been mentioning. It's actually very simple. It does get a little annoying because enemies are intervening constantly, but overall it's not anything crazy hard. Now after doing that, you then begin the escape portion of the level, which gives us the timer countdown to the explosion, and we have to drive the Warhog to get out of the ship before it explodes and we die a horrible death. This is by far the most fun part of the game's campaign, and it's at the very end, so hey, they actually did the thing right. During it, I also found the last collectible I needed on the level, and again I got the collectible trophy on this level being called No Rush this time. Long story short, on easy difficulty, making it to exfil before the timer expires is very easy. I had over a minute left on time to spare. I also crashed my car multiple times, but I finally did reach the final ship out and we survived. The ending cutscene then played out and we saw as the ship blew up, causing a chain reaction and decimating the entire Halo in the process. We also find out that every single person, alien, life force is now gone from the Halo. A worthy sacrifice, I would say. And then it ends with a near teaser at the Master Chief's face. I heard if you drop a like and subscribe, you can see what the Master Chief looks like, so make sure you do. Okay. Anyways, I then got 2 trophies after the credits rolled from completing the Maw mission and completing the game on easy difficulty. Unfortunately, we aren't quite done because there is 3 more bonus missions. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really enjoy these. I feel like playing them after the story kind of kills the point because they are pretty cool missions, I believe, or they're supposed to be in between other ones. I don't really know. It doesn't make sense, to be honest. So I'm just gonna speed through these so we can get to the fun part of the game, the lasso, run, and the cleanup. The first bonus mission was called Boarding Action, and I got no trophies during it besides the completion one, so here's a trophy. Next up was Most Dangerous Game, the longest of the bonus levels and my least favorite, and I also did get a collectible trophy during it, so here is that. I then just finished it off, and here's a trophy as well. After that was the final bonus mission called Heavy Burden. During it, I found the last terminal in the game, and I got that trophy, which actually has a very funny trophy title and you'll love to see it. I then found all of these skulls later on in it, and I got that collectible trophy as well. 20 minutes later, I then finished the level, and I got the Mix Master trophy finally from beating the entire remixed campaign without dying. I also got the Heavy Burden completion trophy as well, obviously. So real fast before we end off this stage and then begin the LASO run, I did go back into 4 levels, and I got 4 skulls that I missed earlier, which was usually because I just couldn't reach them without that other skull that makes you like fly, I guess. I also did them all in order, so first was Halo, then was Truth and Reconciliation, next up was Library, and second to last was the Mission Keys, and the final one I missed was Boarding Action, so I guess I actually missed 5 skulls. I still can't count. And after grabbing that last skull, I also received all of the collectible trophy pops as well, called Collector's Edition, the All Skulls Trophy, and the All Collectible Trophy on Boarding Action. And that is finally part 1 of this platinum finished with. So it is now time for the hardest portion of this game, the LASO run, the hardest part by far. The trophy here we are after is called Mythic. Now right now as I'm making this video, you can use modifiers when playing it, and that will count if you do this little method, which there is a ton of videos out there for, so that does help make it easier. But even with modifiers, being it on LASO is a miserable experience, especially solo, which is what I tried to do at first. However, after being team killed by f***ing Sergeant Johnson 45 times, I decided, f*** this, I'm doing it co-op. Now the reason co-op is better and easier than solo is because on the solo LASO difficulty, when you die, it's a complete restart of the mission. Whereas on co-op, you get checkpoints and you have to restart from there. So it's just far easier. Now playing through LASO in co-op, I just had my other PS5 on, and I basically just had that as a dummy account just to like get me checkpoints pretty much. So I basically did do this solo. I also did get numerous trophies during my LASO run, and the first 2 from completing the first 2 levels, because if you remember correctly, they did not pop for whatever reason on the normal run. I also got a combat trophy from knocking off 100 grunt backpacks called Bad Gas. Very easy, and you should get this naturally, so hear that trophy pop. I also got the 3rd levels completion trophy because that also didn't pop earlier, and that is the only one left that we didn't get, so we are pretty much set now. However, I did get a random level trophy on Assault on the control room from getting to the Banshee before the Elite does, and I did this by just running past enemies, which is how you should play most of the LASO run if you can, since on death, nearly every enemy blows up and it does a ton of damage. That's how I died pretty much every time when I did, because they just destroy everything when you do kill them. So here's that trophy pop anyways. I then got one more random trophy, and it was on the Maw actually, from completing the Warthog run without being ejected. Pretty easy if you just don't crash or get unlucky with an aggressive enemy, and here's the trophy pop. I then just finished off LASO, got all of the difficulty trophy pops, and yeah, overall not as hard as you'd expect when you do use the modifiers. Again, I'm not sure if this is intentional by the developers or a glitch, but either way, it is still working more than a week after release, so I would have assumed a patch by now, but hey, I'm not complaining, and that is part 2 finished with. So, welcome to the most tedious portion of this game's platinum, the cleanup. I was missing quite a few trophies, but honestly, not as many as I thought I was. However, these last ones I had were insanely annoying. Some were easy, but, you know, some were pretty bad. The first trophy I chased down was called New Whip, and it's from hijacking just 10 vehicles. Now, I already had some progress on this because I had done this a few times already when playing, but hijacking a vehicle is just done by running up to an enemy-controlled vehicle and holding square. You then steal it, and that's a hijack. On the level Assault in the Control Room, if you select Rally Point Charlie, you will spawn in right before a group of enemies, 2 of which will jump into vehicles and drive them around. Sometimes you can get both before they drive away or just evade, but regardless, this trophy can be farmed out via checkpoint, and that's just what I did. After hitting 10, the trophy popped. Next up, I actually got 3 trophies at once, combining Map Quest, Frugal Fire, and Hot Streak all on one level. This is done on the Silent Cartographer level, and you must not shoot, use grenades, melee, die, or reset checkpoints. All the while, you need to also use the skulls, being Famine, Recession, Johnny Ammo Tree, and also the Floor is Lava skull. So pretty much you just have to not jump and die and just run to your objective. It's actually not that bad. You do have to make sure to grab the Warthog to the left side of the island at the start, or else it is impossible, because that Warthog will save you from dying from touching the ground, since there is lava on the floor and it will damage you pretty fast over time. You also can drive this Warthog into the objective building at least somewhat, but other than that, just be fast. Make sure you pull your finger off the jump button, and it's really not that hard overall. I did it first try, so yeah, here's all 3 of those trophies popping once completed. Next up was the trophy Even Tempered. This one requires us to complete the mission in Halo with the Temperament Skull enabled. This pretty much just makes it so allies will instantly get hostile if you do shoot them, and the trophy needs us to not anger anyone throughout. So just make sure you do not shoot defeat any NPC allies during the mission. Otherwise, you will not earn the trophy. It's actually very simple. I also do recommend meleeing often or just entirely because that makes it so you literally cannot hit your allies. Also, meleeing enemies is very strong and it pretty much one-hit kills everybody anyway, so it's good regardless. After completing it and not angering an ally, the trophy will pop. Following that was a fast trophy called Food Critic. This is a bit of an Easter egg and is gotten on the mall mission when driving away from the explosion. But after you cross the bridge at sort of a middle point, if you wait till you're about 750-ish meters from the next POI, just hop out, then run down this tunnel off to the right and an enemy will be there chatting about food. And the trophy pops instantly when coming in the vicinity of him. Following that was Arm's Length. On the mission 343 Guilty Spark, complete the first floor without taking a hit. Now this trophy is the hardest by far of the cleanup trophies. 343 Guilty Spark is that mission where you first discover the flood and enemies are absolutely everywhere. Now I'm gonna speed through my failure and tell you guys how to do this right because I died numerous times, or I guess I failed numerous times. I spent 30 minutes on this one trophy in this cleanup, but to best do this you can equip the bandana skull, I believe is what it's called, which gives you infinite grenades. This does not know the trophy, by the way, and then just spam grenades at every encounter no matter what. Also, right at the start, don't hit any of the fire on the ground because that does void the trophy. It really shouldn't technically, but it does because, poor polishing by the developers. Long story short, just don't get hit by anything at all, spam grenades, run from enemies if you must, and that's pretty much it. The trophy will pop before you reach the elevator in the end of the first floor, so that's a good waypoint to know if you did it right or not, and here it is. Next trophy I did was called This Is My Ship Now. This is another very funny Easter egg trophy, and it's on the very first level of the game. It requires us to kill Captain Keyes and then melee all of the avenging Marines back into the little observation pen, which is just where that ladder is at the front of the ship. I'm also pretty positive these Marines are invincible because I had to melee some like 30 times to get their dumbasses down there. So just feel free to go balls out because you can and it's not going to kill them. After nudging all 6 down there, the trophy pops, and that's honestly a very funny trophy. So only 3 are left now. The next one I did was called Like Old Times. From completing the mission 2 betrayals with speed limit, endurance spec, hip fire, and armistice skulls enabled. This is probably the simplest cleanup trophy of the bunch because it's just plain level with those on. You can die, fail, do literally anything, it doesn't matter, but as soon as you finish the level, the trophy will pop, and here it is. Second to last, I then did the hardest trophy in terms of difficulty in this cleanup, being called All Shield No Yield. It's from completing any level on heroic without taking health damage, meaning you cannot break your shield once throughout. And it's best advised to do this on the first level because it is the fastest, least enemies, and easiest. I did come close to breaking my shield a few times, but as soon as getting shot, just run for cover and you should be fine. I did it first try after all. Once completing it without taking health damage, really popped, and here it is. My final trophy in the game was then, I don't know how you say all of that, but it was just doing the most dangerous game bonus level and not killing any rampaging brutes. This trophy is not hard, it's just very boring. Rampaging brutes are unironically the most common enemy on this level, and they are also somewhat hard to kill. But your ally team will actually help you, so you can pretty much just run around and wait for them to take out the enemies to ensure you are safe. That's what I did, and it worked. Took a while, it was pretty boring, but hey, there is the final trophy and the platinum trophy on Halo Campaign Evolved. So that was the Halo Campaign Evolved platinum trophy experience. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. In hindsight, I really didn't get to play the game normally at all, so that kind of does suck. I wish the trophies were a little different, but all in all, very fun game. A very solid remaster. I'm not going to nitpick it like Twitter does, and that's about it. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace out.